Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Boxing Coalition. My name is Cam. Joining me tonight, MV Chu and Naota. Hope you guys are well. Quickly before we start, I just want to mention that I read on Boxing Scene over the weekend there was a 15-year-old Russian amateur boxer who sadly passed away after he fought in a competitive fight for a sports academy, man. And this kind of hit home for me because, you know, our gym's just being affiliated so we can start competing. Well, some of the young guys are going to start competing, not me. And a few of them have had fights, no headgear, small gloves. And, you know, I've fought a few times, no headgear, small gloves. And you don't think about it at the time. You think, well, I want to get the win. You want to be positive, but you think, well, if I lose, you know, what's the worst that can happen? Maybe I'll get a cut. Maybe I might break my nose. Worst case, I might get dropped or something. And you never really think about losing your life. And, you know, we love this sport so much, but it is a very dangerous sport, man. And even though we do call guys bums and this and that, you know, everyone that does step into the ring has to be respected because it is a warrior sport. So the boy hasn't been named. May he rest in peace. Our condolences go to his family and friends. All right.
Same here, man. It's a tragic situation. You don't think that something like that would happen, you know, in a low level amateur type fight like that. It's crazy.
Yep. All right, boys. Let's move on to Saturday night. The return of Manny Pacquiao. Very low key affair. You know, we mentioned it on Friday that there's not really been any hype surrounding this fight. You know, Vargas is a poor opponent. You know, most of us weren't really interested in this fight. Chu, with you being on the show today, I presume you watched it. What was your thoughts about it?
Senator Pacquiao, he's still got the speed if he's not got the power. He's still got that bounce in his feet, that high energy, man. It's like he's got two trampolines under his left and right foot. He's got that Filipino PCP, human Adderall. I thought it was a great performance, you know. He's still got the same style over the years. If anything, he's kind of regressed back to being a left-hand happy fighter. You know, the kind of years where he was getting knockouts with the right hook and stuff. They've kind of disintegrated and he's kind of just regressed into what he was originally, which was very left-hand happy. But if it worked for him, then why not? You know, and for the knockdown, he made the taller man reach with a lazy jab. You know, that jab was clearly to set up a right hand, but he didn't really commit to it, Vargas. He just kind of threw out a lazy left jab, left his defences open, and Manny Pacquiao capitalised with that wee crouch down and bounce straight left shot that he's been famous for. You know, the difference in the fight is I thought that Manny knows what he is. He's an offense fighter. When he goes for it, it's 100%. He doesn't think about it. Whereas I think Vargas is he doesn't know what he wants to be. Is he an action fighter? Is he a cerebral fighter? And that's been shown in the trainers that he's employed throughout his career. He doesn't really know what he wants to be. He's trying to be a bit of this, he's trying to be a bit of that. And I really think against a guy like Manny, if you've got a game plan, stick to it. If you're going to commit, do it 100%, because if you try to hedge your bets, you'll come out second best. And I thought Vargas done a lot better once he just started fighting like a Mexican fighter should and just being aggressive and trying to exchange and just throw punches. When he's kind of waiting, Manny was able to ambush him. And I really think when Vargas looks back in this fight, he's going to see it as a missed opportunity.
True, I thought it was an average fight overall, but, you know, regarding what you said about Manny, and, you know, he's still got that bounce in his step, he has, but his punch output compared to, like, previous fights was so low. And he was getting touched by Vargas early on, like, up to the 6th round. After that, he kind of took it away from Vargas, but Vargas' right hand was landing, and, yeah, I don't know. It wasn't...
I think that's more of a credit to Vargas than anything, like with regards to anything being wrong with Pacquiao, though. I mean, I think that Vargas has definitely improved over the last couple of years, and I think that it showed in a major way against Pacquiao. You know, I thought he did, you know, better than Bradley did in those last couple of fights. You know, I had the fight really close up until the later rounds where Pacquiao managed to kind of sweep the final. and the championship rounds and take over the fight basically. Kind of drown Vargas's chances of winning. But I mean, I thought that Chu actually broke it down really well. Vargas, I think, had a lot of missed opportunities, especially in the middle to late rounds, where early on he was able to time Pacquiao. He was doing really good at almost kind of like taking like these short little side / back steps, like kind of slightly backwards into the side. And then when Pacquiao would almost kind of set his feet to throw his punches, that's when Vargas would capitalize and crack him with, just a well-timed, either a right hand, a left hook, a left jab, what have you. But it's just that it seemed like once Pacquiao knocked him down, I think that kind of put a little bit of doubt in his mind. And so it's almost like he was trying to switch up what he was doing mid-fight. And like Chu was saying, with regards to Vargas doesn't quite know what he wants to be, I think he has a lot of mental lapses because of that, where it's almost like he feels like he's going to go into volume mode, then he's going to go into puncher mode, then he's going to go into defensive mode. It's almost like he doesn't quite have those switch ups as smoothly as you'd want a fighter to be able to do that. He doesn't have it like instinctively. It's almost like he has to mentally check in and check out of each of those styles in order to do that. And I think that those are the moments where Pacquiao was able to capitalize, catch him with some, big clean shots. And, Pacquiao, of course, he still has the speed. He has that explosive kind of snap to himself where he could be, kind of being defensive in one moment and then immediately get into an offensive mode. And just, at the drop of a dime, basically change up the style that he's using and manage to either steal a round or take over a round or, switch the tide of the fight, completely change the rhythm at which it's being fought. Because, I thought that the rhythm of the fight was definitely in Vargas's favor in the early rounds, but Pacquiao managed to kind of supplant that. And as Pacquiao, I thought, grew a little bit stronger during the fight, I thought Vargas's overall stamina kind of let him down in the later rounds and led to Pacquiao basically taking over. But I wouldn't say that Pacquiao's really lost a step very much at all, at least not in the last couple of years. I mean, if anything, there might be a slow regression from where he was when he was fighting like a Claude or, the Marquez 3 fight, for instance. But I'd say that it's not necessarily like this huge gap where it's like he looked way different than he did in the Bradley fight or even the Mayweather fight, really. I think that just by and large, he's kind of leveled off to a certain degree with regards to his overall ability. And it was really just a matter of Vargas managing to make him respect the distance and have to negotiate that distance, that where Pacquiao had a little bit of trouble with him. And, it took him a little while to kind of figure out exactly how to fight the guy.
Regarding the fight, I haven't really got much else to say on it. Like I said, it was an average fight. And my question is is Manny on some type of, minimum contract with
steroids?
with Bob, where, he's got a certain amount that he makes in every fight? Because if he does...
I'm sure he does.
If he does, then, I hope this fight does terrible because... pay-per-view wise, I've shown you at the time, Leota, you saw the tweet from Sugar Shane Mosley saying he put a tweet out saying he ordered the pay-per-view online because that was only one of the outlets that was available. Leota, did anywhere cable or satellite wise in the States?
Yeah. No, like my cable company picked it up.
Okay.
Charter did. I know on Twitter somebody was complaining that like Fios did, but they didn't allow him to record it for some reason. I guess Comcast, they didn't allow him to record it either. So Fios got it. That's Verizon. Comcast got it. Charter got it. Those are some of the major outlets. I'm sure Time Warner got it too because I didn't hear anybody complaining about that. So. It definitely got the distribution, and Top Rank has done that in the past. Like back when Malignaggi fought Cotto, that was on the same day as a HBO pay-per-view. So they've always managed to get good distribution even if HBO's not putting up the money for it.
Don't you?
No, Supermaster in the chat is saying no one's really used their height against Manny. I agree. A lot of the time Manny's even crouching, and when he crouches, is like it kind of invites a taller man into range, thinking they can just unleash a right hand, but a lot of the time he just rolls with it and comes back with a left. He's not really changed much. It's just that guys keep falling for the same trap. They just let Manny bounce in front of him. The guy's just bouncing away. He's like, fucking jab
They
him.
don't make him respect the distance. That's what Vargas kind of did to a certain
Chris
degree anyway.
Algieri was going to use the height though. Remember all those people that came out before
Well,
that
you know
fight
what?
saying,
I think one of the biggest mistakes that Algieri made, which is actually a mistake that Bradley made in his most recent fight against him, because I've rewatched a couple of those fights, is that Algieri was too much on his toes. He was almost like bouncing with Manny. And when you're up on your toes like that, all Manny had to do literally was just time when his feet were going to be off the ground and crack him. And that's pretty much what he did. This is the reason why he was able to land so many big shots and drop him so many times.
yeah,
If you let Manny bounce in front of you, it's like you're just letting him gear up, rev up, let him find his rhythm. I'd just be on him. I mean, let the heavens fall where they may. If you're going to get knocked out knowing that you could knock him out because he's not got that great of a chin anymore. You don't let a gunslinger polish their firearm at high noon. You don't let fucking Manny get the bouncing on the go in round 1, round 2. You fucking get right on him. And I thought after the knockdown in the second, he done so much better, Vargas, because he was pissed off. And when you're pissed off, you're not thinking. And that's his problem. He thinks too much. If he just goes with his first instinct all of the time, he'll find he's fucking winning the fight. But in this fight, I thought he was maybe just a wee bit too nervous, too respectful of a guy who's 37. He may be a great fighter, but there was opportunities there to really have a go at him. Manny in the 4th round, he was just throwing exclusively left hand. It was like he was trying different ways of landing it. It was like a sparring session. Nyota said it was close. I didn't think so. I gave Vargas 2 rounds, the 5th and the 6th. That's it. That's all I gave him.
I think I give him 4, but I've not got my phone next to me, so I don't know exactly.
Yeah, I had it 7-5 in rounds, and then of course the extra point gives Pacquiao an extra point, so it'd be 115 to 112. But yeah, basically through I think it was round 9 is when I had it even, and then basically Pacquiao swept the last rounds, and that was all there was to it.
But yeah, just going back to my point about it doing terribly, because I want Bob to either think, okay, Manny's not a cash cow without someone to dance with, so either retire Manny or put him in there with someone that's decent, because I don't want to see these round robins. They'll probably get Alvarado next, and then Rios too.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I really didn't think that Vargas was that bad of an opponent. I mean, you got like an active champion, a guy that just came off of a big win over a fellow contender ostensibly in Saddam Ali and everything, and a guy that that. I mean, hey, he gave Bradley the scare of his life, like as much as Provodnikov did, really, at the end of that fight. So I didn't really think that this was a bad opponent, especially considering the fact that a lot of people have been calling for a Crawford fight, and Crawford is completely untested at 147 pounds. And, I mean, yeah, he just pulled off a big victory himself. But at the same time, I mean, who are the types of guys that have given him trouble in the past? Is guys with speed like Pacquiao has. So, I mean, I think it's just as much in the air as to how successful he'll be as much as it is with Vargas. I mean, not quite as much, but, I mean, I'd say they're not necessarily levels apart.
Did you guys listen to the Top Rank stream with Stephen A. Smith?
That was just the main stream. That was the only stream.
Was that the only stream? Was it? All right.
Yeah. Brian Kenny's.
Yeah.
Brian Kenny's a god, though. Man. I love Brian Kenny.
Yeah, he did pretty solid. Stephen A. Smith, I didn't like him at first, but I thought I thought some of his rants and like the way he'd kind of go off topic a little bit later on, I thought was a little bit better than I thought he was almost like learning on the job. He got better towards the end of the pay-per-view than he had been doing early on. Because early on, like he was saying just some flagrantly stupid shit.
He was talking shit to Bradley though. It's like, come on, man. Like, Bradley knows his shit. Why are you telling him stuff?
Yeah. Well, the best part was when Bradley said, "Yo, Jessie Magdaleno trained 400 rounds for this fight, or he sparred 400 rounds for this fight," and Stephen A. Smith is like, "Is that a lot?" And you could like almost hear like the audible face palm that Bradley did before he fucking explained to him, like, yeah, that is a lot. Like, it's crazy, man.
What did you think of Smith, Chew?
He's there for entertainment value. That's fine, to be honest, because I mean, a lot of the time when you listen to like Larry Merchant or whoever, George Foreman, a lot of the time you were disagreeing with what they said, but they just said it in such a way where it was kind of entertaining. and maybe I'm not going to be as like critical as other people of him or his role being there. He's not done it a lot. Probably good for the sport if you can get some of that casual fan eye who know who he is into it. He kind of reminds me of like casual fan on the boxing voice. He's just kind of learning on the job kind of thing, but that's fine because maybe he'll say some stupid shit or entertaining shit or whatever.
And I mean, the thing is, him and Skip Bayless were a big part of like helping to promote the Pacquiao and Mayweather rivalry and all that stuff for all these past years. And even though I think that it's kind of bullshit that the fact that they almost like ignored the entire rest of the sport. I mean, for it only makes sense as far as Aram's concerned in order to have somebody like that like, gave you as much promotion as you could have possibly hoped for over the past, 7 years, basically, to, get him on there and continue that.
There was a point in the fight where Manny Pacquiao landed a good punch on Jessie Vargas, and Tim Bradley said, "Oh, he hurt him. He hurt him with that punch. He hurt him." And Stephen A. Smith was like, "Nah, he stung him. He stung him. Okay, he stung him. No, he stung him." And then Tim Bradley's like, "Yeah." You can tell they both get along, even though Tim Bradley's probably thinking, "You don't know what the fuck you're talking about."
Tim was doing that like while laughing, where he's just like, "You're an idiot, but I'll just laugh at your shit joke anyway."
Yeah, he did.
And there's enough tension between boxing commentators that it's kind of refreshing in a way to see like two commentators who actually probably get on, like away from the ring. And everybody knows how fucking the HBO commentators, for example, hate each other. But that's cool. I mean, nice bit of banter. I mean, it was quite light-hearted. It took away from the seriousness of the fight for me. The whole thing just felt like a kind of sparring session, if I'm being honest.
Yep. Chew, if Manny continues to fight on, who would you like him to fight, and who do you think he will fight?
Oh.
Yeah, you still there?
Yeah, sorry, say that again, Cam?
If Manny continues to fight, who do you think he will fight next, and who do you want him to fight next?
I want him to fight Terence Crawford. That's the natural fight. Him being ringside, that's where it looks as if they'll head to, but, I don't know if Bob Arum really wants to take that risk with Manny. Maybe after watching that fight, maybe he's probably thinking, I can get away with a couple of our bums. When I say bum, I know Vargas isn't a bum, but he's a bum compared to Manny. I want to see Manny tested, even if he is 37. If you're going to be in the sport and make millions, I made $4 million for that fight, then fight a guy who will give you a test and who's got the chance of beating you. No one wants to see the same film over and over again. So I'd like it to be Terence Crawford. And who do I think he'll fight next, to be honest? I don't think he'll fight Terence Crawford. I have no idea who he'll fight. No idea.
Neil, also same question to you.
I mean, Chu kind of hinted at what I was gonna say with regards to I want to see him, fight the best. And like to me, the best guy that he could fight out there, even though I know that it's not likely to happen just by virtue of risk versus reward and cross promotional issues, is Errol Spence. I want to see him fight the guy that's the boogeyman, the guy that everybody seems to be like hesitant to even speak his name, the guy that's been going out and blowing out these other guys that are supposed to be, stiff tests for him and have been stiff tests for other fighters. The way he destroyed Chris Algieri, the way he destroyed Leonard Bundu was very impressive. He's almost looking... Huh?
How? Why are you asking Manny Pacquiao to fight him when the guys on PBC won't even fight him?
Oh, because, I mean, if Pacquiao's going to be held to the standard of being the best welterweight or one of the best welterweights, I think that he needs to fight his fellow best opponents. And I like seeing the old versus the young, the old lions versus the young lions, see if that torch can get snatched away. I think one of the big issues with Pacquiao and Mayweather in particular is the fact that they largely haven't given some of these younger guys at welterweight in particular, some of the up-and-coming stars, as much of a chance as they deserve. And, I mean, some of them have also turned it down, namely Garcia and Broner recently with their crazy demands. But, I mean, I'd like to see Spence, period. But I know that's not likely to happen, for kind of the reasons that she was hinting at just now. And just by virtue of, why risk him against a guy that could potentially beat him, who's not even a part of your stable, when you could do it with Terrence Crawford and then thus build Crawford's star in the process if Terrence manages to get the victory. So I actually do think that the Crawford fight may happen because I don't know who said it. I don't know if it was Aaron or if it was Roach, but they were basically saying that if they don't get a Mayweather rematch, they're going for Terrence Crawford. And I'd be willing to bet that that's probably the only fight that's really going to get the type of purse that Pacquiao is going to be really wanting to fight for outside of a Mayweather, mega payday, essentially. So I think that the Terrence Crawford fight probably will happen.
I actually think... Sorry, go on, you.
No, go, Cam. Go.
I was going to say, financially, I think Brook versus Pacquiao would be massive because, Hearn could spin that here in the UK. I know £20 or £18 per pay-per-view is not that much, but I think that would do big numbers, like kind of Joshua numbers, 400, 500,000, just because everyone knows Manny Pacquiao. Kell Brook got a lot of respect for his effort against Golovkin, so financially, that's a big fight. Who I think he'll fight, I don't know, man. Like, I even joke and think like Alvarado, but I could actually see Alvarado fighting Pacquiao next. That's how bad.
But you know who else I could see fighting him potentially? Canelo.
Financially, yeah, that's another big one. But I'd like to see him fight Thurman, to be honest. Even though he got the issues, but I think that would be a good fight. They were saying this week, Khan's camp was saying it, and Manny's camp was saying it, that fight would be a possibility. Or I don't actually think it's a bad fight, but there's better fights to be made than that. But I could even see that happening, to be honest.
Absolutely. He's going to fight Manny or Floyd. Sorry, he's going to fight Floyd or Terrence Crawford next. I really don't see anyone else who could fight in top rank.
Fuck that Floyd fight though, man. I was just talking to Mr. Fix in the chat, who's from Caffeine and Hip Hop, and he said the same thing. And I said, like, boxing needs to move on. We've had these two figures in the game for so long, and they've just made it stagnant. There's that fresh blood there, but they're not getting mentioned because everyone's keep talking about these dudes. And don't get me wrong, they're still competitive at their age. They're still good, but sometimes you have to take a bow and let the new guys come through.
It kind of reminds me of like what Hopkins did in large part at middleweight and light heavyweight. Kind of spoiled a lot of the ground that it was gaining. Between beating Kelly Pavlik and halting that train, and then beating Tarver, halting his train, and just kind of spoiling his way to the top. And taking all the air and the hype out of a lot of those fights. I mean, even Chad Dawson, even though he lost the second fight anyway, he took the air out of a lot of Chad Dawson's sails in that first fight with that BS that he pulled, and then continued to do so by making the second fight just awful to watch. So they're almost kind of doing like a Hopkins 2.0, both of them.
Great point, but you had to slip Pavlik in there, didn't you?
Oh, well, I wasn't even doing that on purpose.
All right, I'm waiting for Leon, but he's not jumped on the line yet, so I don't know whether to kill 5 more minutes or move on. What do you guys think?
Let's move on. We'll go back to it eventually.
Yeah, we can ask him after the fight.
All right, talking of Kelly Pavlik, Naota, my boy Donaire looked awful on Saturday night. To give Magdaleno respect, I thought Magdaleno was excellent, and he just outworked Nonito so much. Nonito, as you said while I was talking to you while we were watching the fight, he was just plodding forward, just looking for that right hand. Everything was right hand. He wasn't setting it up with a jab. He wasn't thinking, "Oh, I'll throw left hook, right hand," and he just looked like. He looked too patient, like he knew that the knockout was going to come. He was just plodding along. He hurt Magdaleno a few times, and he thought, well, I'll get to him. And that moment never came. He didn't get to him. And props to Magdaleno's chin, man. He took some flush right hands, and it held up really well. Nonito didn't land the left hook at all. The left hook was just whiffed and
Yeah, I was gonna
missed.
say the way he took it away from him was brilliant stuff. Just fantastic footwork on Magdaleno's part.
Yeah,
But go ahead.
and it was crazy. It was like they were just doing, both of them were doing a quick draw. Nonito would just go to throw, and Magdaleno would just throw in between his shot and be out of there straight away. And he just made Nonito look like shit, man. He looked terrible, plodding like you said, Naota, coming forward, just looking for that right hand. And Magdaleno, I thought his body work was excellent, and I think he just frustrated Nonito so much. His movement was good, and Nonito could have cut the ring off a bit better. I don't think it would have really helped overall, because Magdaleno was just in and out. He was like an annoying little wasp that just to do left hook to the body, boom, gone. Another left hook, right hand to the top. And it was just, I'm on this guy's train now, man. So that happens to me quite a lot, where if a guy outdoes a guy that I'm a fan of, I become a fan of him. Sometimes it works the opposite, where you hate the guy for beating your favorite dude or a guy that you follow for years. But I'm really high on this kid, man. Really impressed me.
Yeah, he did a really good job, and it's funny because everybody was, giving me shit for the whole Pavlik versus Martinez thing, but I mean, I can't, I don't think anybody could say that I was wrong about that. I knew that Donaire, even in his prime, even when he was getting the Fighter of the Year award and all that stuff, I always saw that same flaw with he doesn't like to lead, and he's almost like a one-dimensional fighter with regards to, like, he prefers to be on the back foot almost all the time. And I think that might have been just something that he developed, considering the fact that he started as a flyweight and super flyweight, the fact that he was basically bigger and taller, longer than everybody he usually fought, so he could, very easily fight off the back foot. But when it came to a guy that was quick and slick, like Omar Narvaez was to a degree, and like Rigondeaux was, he was always going to have trouble with that particular style, especially, all three of those guys are southpaws, Magdaleno, Rigo, and Narvaez. And I thought Magdaleno kind of matched, pretty much did the same game plan that Narvaez and Rigo did, and just kind of spoiled and frustrated the hell out of Donaire, took that left hook away from him completely, was either all the way outside or all the way inside. And either way, he was able to negotiate the distance in such a way that Donaire was almost like trying to set his feet before he could throw, and he was missing by a mile with every shot with every big power punch that he threw, just about. And I think that one of the great things that Magdaleno did was, whenever Donaire managed to land a good shot on him, Magdaleno almost had an immediate answer back. But he didn't necessarily answer back in the vacuum of that same punch, that same exchange. It's almost like he would sidestep, catch his rhythm back again, and then as Donaire was trying to land another shot to capitalize on that, Magdaleno capitalized on him before he could do it. I thought the fifth round in particular was almost like a microcosm of that, where Donaire started out the round really well, but Magdaleno finished it well, and then he hit him with that right hook at the end of the round as the bell was ringing, to give him that look like, yeah, I got you, like that. This is the way the fight's going to be fought, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I thought that carried on into the later rounds. Well, actually, I thought Magdaleno might even have a chance of stopping in there, but he did the right thing and didn't get too over anxious in trying to do something like that, the way that like Darchinyan did, for instance, when he was whooping on Donaire in their rematch, and he just conclusively beat him down and outpointed him, and had Donaire's face looking like a mess. And I thought the scorecards were being generous to Donaire, actually. I thought that, and the way that a lot of people on Twitter and the commentators were scoring it were giving Nonito way too much credit for just throwing punches. Even if they weren't landing cleanly, or they're being blocked by the gloves, they were scoring them as if they were scoring blows. But I thought Magdaleno just cleanly pieced him up and just did a number on him, and that was all there was to it.
Those people scoring on Twitter were crazy, man. I think they gave Magdaleno 3 rounds.
Yeah, to me that was an exemplification of them not watching the fight; they were watching Nonito. Because there's no way that fight was even close. I mean, he got his ass beat, every bit as much as anybody else is beating him. Matter of fact, I'd say that was probably the most conclusive domination that I've seen of Donaire, just overall.
Yeah, he's got a style that's not aged well. He used to be called the Filipino Flash, and he was another one with a bounce in his step. But now he just plants his feet. He's becoming a pot shot and pressure fighter. He was never that before. But what he'll do is he'll land a good shot and then he'll just admire that. He'll let it marinate for like 10 seconds and not throw anything else. He seems to be more concerned with his connect percentage than he is with winning. You know, who cares if you miss 10 shots if you land 2 and you land more than your opponent? He seems to want to land the perfect punch every time. And that boxing doesn't work like that. You know, the other guy, Magdaleno, just outworked him, out-hustled him, turned him. You know, the kid, you know, he's got a haircut like a pint of Guinness. It took him a while to settle right enough. But once he settled, you know, prior to the fight, he looked as if he was about to go clubbing. You know, he was really fucking dressed up for Ibiza. But he just fucking danced around the Filipino flash and really gave him a little bit of a clinic. I thought the fight was closer towards the end. I thought Magdaleno started to tire, which is natural considering all the movement he was doing. And then Nonito was starting to land with that straight right all the time. But I thought really Magdaleno won. And Nonito is definitely someone who should really think about what his next step is, because he's not got it anymore at the top level.
No, yeah, I mean, I think unfortunately for him, his name is big enough that they're going to recycle him.
Yeah, I agree. He's got a couple of other fights out there for him, but whether he wins them or not, that's a different matter.
Yeah.
And what for Magdaleno, just looking at WBO rankings, they're not the greatest WBO. I know Juarez is up there. I think he fought Donaire and.
Yeah, he was the one that gave him that Fight of the Year candidate last year.
Most other names.
I think he's actually the mandatory again too, because he just fought an eliminator like 2-3 weeks ago. One day.
You can tell he doesn't enjoy it. What a face he's got. He used to be smiling to the ring and shit. He used to be smiling all smiles and shit. And he's like the guy who puts the coffin in the grave. You know, that kind of face when he fights.
The guy I think that's in the top 10 of the WBO that could potentially give Magdaleno a good fight, though, is Ray Vargas. I've mentioned his name a couple of times here and there. He's a guy that's ranked number 1 for the WBC as well, though, so I don't know if he'll go after Hasegawa or Magdaleno. If anything, I'd say Hasegawa would be the easier fight for him. So it's an open question as to whether that fight could be made. Plus, he's a Heyman fighter, too, so that's not any kind of guarantee that could get made. If anything, I think Magdaleno may wind up fighting that guy, Genesis Cervania, next. He's been a bit of a good prospect on the come up at super bantamweight. Has been on a couple of top ranked cards like over in China.
Don't tell us, Neota. Keep that to yourself and make money. Make money off our ignorance, because I've not got a clue who these guys are.
Yeah, but I mean, for the most part, I think Magdaleno beats just about anybody that's at 122 pounds, regardless of who it is. I'd favor him over most anybody. I could potentially see a fight between him and Diego De La Hoya going down. You know, considering De La Hoya's name and Golden Boy and top ranks. You know, I'd imagine them and Golden Boy working together a little bit more. In order to try and combat what the pressure that PBC's been doing it
for the good of boxing. Let's hope so.
Yeah, and I think that would be a fantastic fight as well. You know, I'm a guy that's been very high on De La Hoya ever since he kind of first burst onto the scene.
He's probably been high on you, snorted coke off your chest. Speaking of the Filipino flash, you know, they used to say he looks like Roy Jones. And I think this version looks like Roy Jones as well. the one that got knocked out by
Glenn Johnson.
McAnally.
All right, man, stop that. That's enough now. Stop dissing my boy.
Okay.
Anything else?
Please let's get off this.
Yeah, we pretty much beat it to death.
Chu, did you watch the rest of the undercard, the other 2 televised fights?
I watched the Valdez fight, yeah.
What do you think?
You know, Osawa. Osawa. A fucking instrument, is it? Osawa. Osawa ranked number 63. Yeah, so what did fucking Oscar Valdez go to Bob Arum and say? Did he say, get me a guy in the top 10? And Bob Arum comes back to him. So he's alright, we can't get a guy in the top 10, but I'll get you number 63. Oh, okay.
Well, he was the mandatory, though.
He was the mandatory?
Yeah.
How are you mandatory though when you
honestly,
like?
this guy is a fucking joke.
How are you mandatory when you rank like 62nd in the world?
How are you?
Because he's the number one for the WBO.
How are you a mandatory if you throw a right hand and it turns you into southpaw?
Carlos Quadras did that a couple of times. You can't front on that. Donaire used to do that a lot.
Fucking the majority of the time, he's thrown a right hand. Feet are all over the place. He'll throw a right hand and end up in southpaw. Like fucking. No wonder Oscar Valdez was kind of cautious at the beginning. You know, oh, this guy's trying to go Jack.
Well, I mean, Osawa did land a good right hand on the first round. He did land a pretty good shot that kind of caught me by surprise. I'm sure I caught him by surprise too.
Even where his arms were placed, he wasn't protecting his chin. It was like next to his chest, and I was like, right, maybe that's good hand position if you've got a knife and fork in your hand and you're at the dinner table. but if you're boxing, man, and you're up against a guy like Valdez who's got such a short left hook. Honestly, that left hook would not get on a roller coaster. The height restrictions nowadays.
Yo, Sawa had a chin though, man. Like early on, he took some big shots, man, and like he wasn't even phased. He was just like taking them.
Yeah. I mean, it even just goes to show the fact that the Valdez had to stop him against the ropes, had to flurry on him, and Osawa he looked like he still wanted to fight even after that, even after the ref stopped it. So that guy definitely has some serious punch resistance. Valdez turned southpaw. What was that in the third or the fourth round? Started. Yeah. I actually thought he looked really good as a southpaw. I thought he looked more slick. More of like a hit and don't get hit type of fighter as a southpaw than he did as an orthodox. Even though he didn't quite have the same power as a southpaw, it's like he was trying to set up a shot that he didn't see coming.
It was just a tour de force. He was just having a laugh in there, just having some fun.
Well, I think the good thing about that though is, I think that's something that could play into possibly getting him a victory later on against a tougher opponent. If things are getting difficult, if he was the switch southpaw, I think that might be just an extra tool in the tool shed, almost like the way Terrence Crawford does it, where he'll be able to pull off a win against somebody that's really giving him stiff opposition, essentially. But Valdez. Go ahead.
Sorry, one thing I noticed that he likes to do is he likes to stick his head out like a tortoise. It's susceptible to uppercuts against a better fighter, but obviously against this one we couldn't really get punished for that.
I think Jojo Diaz is somebody that could take advantage of that.
Yeah, it's like he does some strange things with his head. It's like he's inviting a punch and he sticks his neck out. And he gets away with it because one thing I noticed is he loves these combinations and he'll let the first punch of the combination go, he'll expect it to get blocked, maybe the second punch, but it's the third, the fourth, the fifth. That's the ones that get him, and if a guy's defence is as bad as Osawa's was, then he's obviously going to annihilate these guys. My point is, if you're going to fight bums, you're going to become one eventually. He's picking up some bad habits. He undoubtedly gets tougher tastes in the gym when he's sparring. So why fight this guy, mandatory or not? I think, can you not go towards some kind of unification? I mean, it's fucking embarrassing that guy.
Well, that again brings up the whole issue with Top Rank and Heyman, though. All the other fighters, all the other champions are with PBC.
I know, but nowadays you are seeing some PBC fighters and Top Rank fighters fighting.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. I wish there was fucking more, but fucking that Osawa threw a jab and it was like a powder puff jab. Yeah. It was like same velocity of a butterfly landing on a tree. It's so soft, and Valdez would just fucking ragdoll him. Fucking ragdoll him. Yeah. I'm angry because I like this Valdez, but I want to be a fan, but it's like one step forward, two steps back.
I could see if they weren't able to make a fight with Jojo Diaz next, which I think would be very much like more of a toss-up. Be a really good fight to get made between Top Rank and Golden Boy is him versus Miguel Mariaga, the one that he managed to rock Walters a couple of times before Walters managed to decision him. I think that would be a really solid fight. But Mariaga just knocked out Guy Robb in a pretty impressive fashion, so I wouldn't mind seeing that one.
But you guys know how high I am on Jojo Diaz, Nailton. I think that'd be a really good fight, man. I'd favor Valdez, but I think that'd be almost like, kind of a fight of the year contender, like both guys just standing in the pocket trading. I think that would be an awesome fight.
Yeah. That's the thing. I think Diaz is actually better in the pocket than Valdez is. I think everything is just a little bit shorter and quicker from Diaz. If anything, I think Valdez would have to be more of an outboxer against Diaz, because Diaz he's just got a lot of inside craft that Valdez doesn't necessarily show quite as much of. It's almost like he needs to be more mobile and needs a little bit more space to get everything off and to kind of be defensive, whereas Diaz can kind of dodge, slip, and duck right there in the pocket, or be more mobile on his feet and everything too. So yeah, I think that would be a very good fight. I've always favored Valdez in that fight, but I think that Diaz has definitely closed the gap in terms of closing up some of his own defensive liabilities, and his last couple of fights he's looked really, really good. Just I think he landed like 60% of his power punches his last fight or something like that, something stupid. So yeah, I mean, I think that's an excellent fight. But I mean, failing that, like I said, Miguel Mariaga I think would be a fantastic fight, because Valdez would definitely have to be on his P's and Q's for somebody like that. Somebody that he doesn't even have to be fully leveraged in order to hurt you with a punch.
As good a fight as that is, you're not going to see that in 2017. It's going to be 2018.
I mean, maybe not. The thing is, with Oscar, I don't know really how much choice he has with Diaz, because I think Diaz has been waiting for a title shot for a minute now. And I mean, I highly doubt he's going to get it against any of the other guys at featherweight. So to me, that's basically the only way he can get him a title shot. Anytime soon.
I wouldn't trust Oscar as far as I could throw him. Not that I throw Oscar, but you know what I mean. The thing is, like, after the Golovkin and Canelo negotiations, his credibility in regards to matching his fighters up tough is gone. I'll never believe anything that he says in regards to matching his fights tough, because it's just not true. He's became another Bob Arum. It's ironic that Oscar left Bob for whatever reason, and he's became Bob. He's became the thing he hates.
With Canelo primarily, though, because honestly, I think he matches everybody else pretty tough still.
He was meant to be this prince on a fucking horse riding in to save boxing, but he's just disappointed as like the rest of them.
Yeah, just quickly, another opponent who I think would give a competitive fight. I won't pick him to win. I'd still pick Valdez. Would be Josh Warrington. I think he got high output. He's good coming in and coming out of the pocket, and I think that'd be a competitive fight for Valdez. Like I said, I still favour Valdez, but I could see that fight getting made as well, because I think Warrington's in a situation where this Selby fight's not really looking to happen, and I could see Hearn send him over to the States, try and have a crack at Valdez.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yep.
Wouldn't mind that one.
Alright, let's move on. Dan's jumped on the line, but I'm not sure if he's ready to talk yet. So, Daniel.
What up, brother?
What up, brother? What's happening?
Not much, man. Just been on the bank or on the phone talking to my shitty-ass banking company for about 2.5 hours, talking to fucking every single retard in every part of the United States. So that's how my day's been going so far, but it's glad to be talking with you guys now.
Is that bank a Fortune 500 company, though?
I would assume so. But I know you guys were just talking about Valdez, that Japanese guy. I just want to apologize to all of the viewers on behalf of my Asian brethren for producing yet another bum for Valdez to feast on.
Well, the other guy, your favorite Argentinian's got a first-round knockout yesterday, too.
Yeah, I don't know who the fuck he fought. So
Apologies.
Daniel Brizuela. And I know
I don't know who the fuck that is.
I forgive you, Dan. Apologize, Seb.
But anyways,
Lim, you're breaking up.
Yeah, you're breaking up, man.
Did you guys think that guy was worthy?
Nah.
Close to being a good fighter?
He had a chin, and that's the best positive I can take away from him.
Okay.
They're not sending their best, folks.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was just a typical mandatory. Like, he's on the level of the guys that Brooke has fought the last couple of years.
But how is that a mandatory, though? That's my question.
Because he got in the position to be the mandatory. That's all.
Well, obviously, that's not how I'm posing my question, though. How is a mandatory of that level? If you're a mandatory for a world title, for a major title, how are you of that caliber?
It's simple. It's corruption. It's corruption. It's money under the table. No other reason.
I don't know. I was trying to find videotape of that guy before this fight, and the only 2 videos that I can find were recorded on an iPhone 4. And the quality was so shitty, and like Chu mentions all the time, it looks like they were fighting in a bingo hall. Like, and the thing is, like, I don't mean to be racist, but I don't know which one was which because they were both Japanese, so I don't know which one was the guy that Valdez was supposed to fight.
It's the guy who turns southpaw when he throws a right hand.
I don't know, man. Enough of that. But did you guys talk about Donaire as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just want to give my 2 cents about that. Magdaleno's good. Yeah, exactly. Magdaleno's good. I scored the fight. I didn't really score the fight, but if I had to, I would assume like something like 7-5, 8-4 for Magdaleno. I really like the way that he responded to Donaire's flurries, and this kind of goes back to the whole concept of sink or swim. Obviously, Magdaleno fighting Donaire was a huge step up in competition from his perspective. But the fact that he was able to handle adversity and handle the large stage and handle, having to go 12 rounds against a veteran like that was really, really impressive. But at the same time, I mean, God, Donaire, good. I think Donaire should hang him up, not because he's not that good anymore, but because I think from his vantage point, if you've had so much success in your career and you can't beat an up-and-coming prospect who isn't proven yet, then I think that's a sign that you're probably not at that elite high-caliber level anymore. So as much as I like Donaire, he was very, very poor in his game plan on Saturday night, just head-hunting, looking for that big left hook. And when he abandoned that entirely, he resorted single-handedly to that straight right hand. And he doesn't set anything up at all. And it's really, really frustrating because he has a pretty good jab, but he doesn't use it enough. And even in that round when he had Magdaleno hurt, the way that he was pressing him was just terrible. I mean, the fact that he wasn't willing to jump on the gas pedal, so to speak, it was mind-boggling to me. I mean, it didn't seem like he was that tired or fatigued, so I didn't think that was the explanation. But I just think he's so gun-shy nowadays, and I'm just kind of befuddled by that because I don't think Magdaleno has the biggest power in the world. I don't think he has really that little power, so I don't think you would have to be that cautious of that. So I don't know. I just think maybe his reaction time is a half second off, but I don't want to see him fight anymore because if he's not competitive against the higher level guys, and I think that's a time that you should just hang him up.
Lim, I'm not one of those guys that shouts at the TV when I'm watching sports, but I was so frustrated with Nonito, man. I wanted to say, like, what are you doing? Because I think in the last 3 rounds there were a couple opportunities where Magdaleno looked a bit hurt, and he just let him off the hook. He's like, okay, I'll get to you in a minute, I'll get to you. And that moment didn't come, and he just looked like he was happy just to... I didn't hear any corner work. The only thing that afterwards I was thinking, maybe this is the issue, was maybe they were telling him that he's ahead or some shit. Because he didn't look like, he needed to go out and win it. He looked like he already had the fight won with his, with his temperament and the way he was just nonchalant about not pressing him and not trying to go for the knockout.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what he kind of echoed in his post-fight interviews. He was saying that he thought he got robbed and that he won, and I don't see that way in at all. I mean, I may be a fan of Nonito, but I try to be pretty objective when I score fights, and that was clearly a win for Magdaleno. I don't even entertain a draw. I don't see how that fight was a draw. So if that's what his corner said, then his corner is retarded. And the thing I don't like about Nonito in the later stages of his career, I don't like that he's just jumping from trainer to trainer to trainer. He's becoming a trainer slut, and I hate when fighters do that. And he's getting trained, I think, by Ismail Salak, not Ismail Salak, but the guy who was training John Molina.
Salas.
Salas. And it's just confusing to me, man. Like, why would you jump from Robert Garcia to your dad, and then from your dad to Salas? It seems like these guys just try to find a reason for their lackluster performances and finding new trainers. And I don't know. I just don't think it's that time yet. But at the same time, I still give Magdaleno all the credit in the world. He showed his worth and he proved his worth on Saturday night. And I don't know. Who do you guys think he should fight next, or who do you think it's going to be likely that he fights next?
We kind of went through it before you jumped on. Naota was mentioning, was it Mariaga? Naota? No,
that was for Valdez.
Oh, you're saying for Ray Vargas, was it?
Yeah. For Magdaleno, I was thinking either Ray Vargas or Genesis Cervania.
Oh, Cesar Juarez.
Lim might have seen Cervania before because he's with Allah. Is he with Allah? I don't know. I think he's trained with them before, but I think he's promoted by Top Rank. So I don't know if you might have seen him in the gym a couple of times. He's a pretty good fighter. Had an open sparring session with Naoya Inoue about a year ago or 6 months ago, something like that. So he's a guy on the come up, undefeated. Ray Vargas, undefeated young prospect. Diego De La Hoya is out there as well. If Oscar ever wants to get his nephew I think it's his nephew. Is it his nephew or his cousin? Can't remember. Anyway, get his bloodline, a title shot sometime soon. So.
And Chu, why were you guys talking about Golden Boy and just kind of them being a little hypocritical in their promotional work?
I think that was Chu, basically thinking that De La Hoya originally was the anti-Aram in that he was always matching his guys tough, but with regards to Canelo, he doesn't do that. So
yeah,
he's big. He's become just like Aram, basically.
What brought about that conversation?
Me talking about possibly Diego De La Hoya fighting Magdaleno and Jojo Diaz fighting Oscar Valdez.
I see. Yeah, they're probably not going to happen. She's probably right in that aspect. Yeah, because honestly, I mean, Golden Boy, who do they have outside of Canelo, the fact that we're even mentioning Diego De La Hoya as one of their top commodities, I think says a lot about the situation that they're currently in. I mean, seriously, Golden Boy is the definition of a business company that only has one asset, and that asset probably takes up 95% of all of their revenue. Shit, maybe even more, So, I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm defending Golden Boy because I'm not. What they're doing is pretty terrible, but I can at least understand it. Whereas PBC, I don't understand it because they have an abundance of wealth, and Golden Boy has the exact opposite.
Yep. And Daniel, your thoughts on Pacquiao Vargas?
I don't really care. I mean, I watched that fight just kind of on and off. I was trolling in the chat. I was watching maybe a minute per round, and then I saw the last 3 rounds when Pacquiao clearly took over. But I don't know, man. I don't want to see Pacquiao fight guys like Vargas. And I know Vargas held a good account of himself, but at the same time, I mean, Vargas is a guy that Pacquiao should have whitewashed. So I don't really have much to say about that fight.
No worries. Quickly, just to give Zou Shiming some props, man, because it's the most exciting I've seen Zou Shiming fight in his whole professional career, man. He was just standing there trading in the pocket. He was walking Mini Pacquiao down. It was quite fun to watch for the majority of the fight. I enjoyed that fight.
I actually thought he improved too. He was saying his sponsor, because his sponsor is Anta. He was Anta.
See when you say Zou Shiming trading, the last thing I think is boxing. The first thing I think is a market stall.
Stocks and shares.
Currency. Yeah.
Zou Shiming is trading at plus 500.
I think even more in more archaic terms, like actual shipping of physical goods on the docks of New York from China. Just the amount of miles that you have to traverse on the open sea, like back in the 1300s. It's like, will this 500 boxes of boxing shorts make it to the shores safely? I do not know.
Yeah, I'm sure I've seen him in the film The Last Emperor. Maybe as an extra.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, he's not exciting. I'm
Nah,
not excited by him.
he's not, but he's tough. That is one thing that all the guys who work with him say about him is that he's really, really tough, and he works his ass off. So
Yeah, he
I don't know.
is.
I mean, props to him.
Yeah, and the thing is, I thought he improved compared to the first fight that he had with Paprom a couple years back on the Algeria undercard. Because the Paprom actually landed quite a few shots on him that first fight. Gave him a little lump under his eye, or over his eye rather. And this fight, Zou pretty much made it so that Paprom hardly hit him at all. I thought his timing improved. I think his overall boxing ability has improved. But I think that Freddie Roach is going down the wrong path if they're talking about him fighting Chocolatito, which is what they were doing afterwards. I mean, I'm guessing they're just trying to get like a huge money fight because he'll probably clear $1 million for something like that. And it would be good, I mean, just for Gonzalez and for, I mean, kind of the super flyweight and flyweight divisions at large, because it would kind of just bring a big infusion of money there, compared to what Zou's, making. Just he's the guy that's making the high level 6-figure paydays versus these guys that are making, a pittance in comparison. I'm sure Papron probably didn't even break 100,000.
See, to be honest, I expect my fighters to be tough. I expect them to work hard. I'm not going to phone a newspaper the next day and say, got an exclusive, got a tough boxer for you, a hard-working boxer. They're going to say,
Yeah, but
no.
That's not the case anymore. True.
They all work hard, they all work tough.
No, but that's the thing. I mean, even
Gavin, though.
at flyweight, though, I'd still say Zou Shiming is a top fighter. I mean, I think him versus Donnie Nietes, who's his mandatory now, is, that's an open 50-50 type of fight.
He's not a top fighter. He's not
I'm saying.
Hold up. How can you say that whether he's a top fighter or not when you don't know anything about the division? True. Like myself, I don't know anything about that division.
I watched him fight that Ruin Wrong guy, that Thai guy.
Yeah, Ruin Wrong, who fought as a lightweight in the Olympics.
Yeah, I mean that fight was boring as fuck. It was like, what did I say it was, Cam? It was like watching that Indian TIG game.
Hopkins versus Calzaghe was pretty boring, and yet those were two top fights.
Did you watch this fight though, True? The one that took place this past Saturday?
Say that again?
Did you watch this last fight?
Zou Shiming? No, I didn't.
Okay, well then I did, and I gotta admit, as one of his biggest haters, he has improved pretty substantially. So, I mean, whether he's top 4 or top 10, I do not know, but I think you should at least watch the fight before you make judgment, because I think he has improved a lot.
I don't need to watch Police Academy 40. No, I don't like the TV series or the fucking films. You know what I mean? I know what I'm getting. I know what I'm getting.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I think against somebody that's really on his level, he'll be an exciting fighter to watch. It's just that the guy he was fighting on Saturday was completely a clear couple of levels below him. Him against Kazuto Yoka is an action fight of the year level fight. I think it's the same with Donnie Nietes.
Only way he becomes exciting is if he ties a chainsaw to his hand. Fucking laser beam from his eyes.
If Freddie Roach gets his wish and gets him against Gonzalez, I mean, he'll be exciting in a whole different way.
Let's hope so.
Cool.
All right. The doctor will see his patients. Dr. Salt Leon.
Hello.
How are you?
Yeah, good. Self?
Good, thank you. Leon, just break down that pay-per-view card.
What pay-per-view card?
The one from Saturday.
Oh, the Pacquiao card.
Yep.
Pacquiao looked good, didn't he? I thought
so.
I thought he looked real good. He's still the best guy in that division.
Didn't you think his output was low, though?
Well, not maybe it got slower, but he was winning, so he didn't have to do anything, did he? I think it was very easy for him.
It was easy, but you hear.
I mean, he came out those first 4 or 5 rounds. He was putting it on him. I mean, work rate wise, I mean, he doesn't really commit as much as he's never really been a puncher at 147 anyway, has he? So, no, I thought he looked good.
Don't you think
I didn't think it was easy. I thought it was more of a tactical fight, and I think that's a big part of the reason why a lot of people didn't really like the fight, but because it was more tactical. But I think that was more of I think that was more Pacquiao having to navigate what Vargas was putting in front of him.
Leon
it was a more technical fight.
Leon, didn't you?
He swept those early rounds, though, didn't he? He swept those early rounds.
Who did?
Pacquiao.
I disagree. I thought like Pacquiao was getting a bit touched early on. Like he was still winning some of the rounds, but I was giving a few to Vargas just from.
If anything, I thought he swept the last rounds, the championship
like
rounds.
6-7 onwards. I think I give him everything. I think I give Vargas the rounds in the early part of the fight.
I gave him how many did you give him in total? I gave him about 3 or 4.
I give Vargas 4 rounds. Yeah.
I gave Vargas 5.
About around 5 and 6. I gave him around there.
Where's the other 2 then, Leon?
Fight. Yeah, I can't remember around in and around that period, but it wasn't the first 4.
It's okay, I'll let you off. But do you want him to stay or do you want him gone or like what's the situation with Pacquiao?
I'd like him to be able to fight those guys across the pond on the other side, but it's not going to happen, is it? I mean, him versus Garcia or Thurman or any of those guys, even Porter would be fun. But I think Vargas Porter could be a good fight. Like, if that.
Well, I mean, I think the fact that they had offered it to Garcia and Brunner is at least a slightly, good sign. A little bit of light in the darkness.
I feel that Crawford Pacquiao fight is still a good fight.
I think that's the best fight.
Because I think that's where at 140. I think he can probably still crack a bit.
I think the best fight is him versus Spence, but I mean, in terms of just like promotionally speaking, as far as top ranking concerned, I think that him
as well, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no, it would be. But
him versus Garcia,
or Garcia Thurman, Garcia Thurman, the winner anyway.
I think just Pacquiao just dances circles around Garcia.
Yeah, I think Pac Garcia looks like Pac versus Rios.
No, not that bad.
Not that bad. Look.
Rios didn't engage in that fight.
Well, I mean, the thing is, Garcia has that one-shot killer, too.
Yeah, exactly.
If anybody could replicate something like Marquez did, not the exact same punch, but you know what I mean. It'd be somebody like Danny, who he swings bats. He swings home run derby style at his opponents.
Because look at 147, where's the big... I mean, who's the biggest puncher? Spence at the moment?
Brooke.
I'd say so.
Brooke is up there.
Yeah, but because there's not...
Well, I mean, I don't think Brooke is ever seeing welterweight again.
It's not as big a punching division as it seemed to have felt in the past. Especially as it's become no time.
Exactly. Or every once in a while time. I mean, we used to think that Thurman...
Sometimes
Thurman was... Yeah, sometimes Thurman. When Thurman was coming up
the thing with Thurman, I think, is the fact that he almost has to have his feet planted in order for him to get that power off. He doesn't really have it on the move, or when he's not completely leveraged. I just don't think it's there, and that's a big part of the reason why.
Like when he stopped, what's that guy's name? Diaz's brother. Like he was fighting on his back foot that entire fight, and he was able to spark him out clean with that body shot. And I just think it's a level of opposition, to tell you the truth. I mean, I haven't really seen him hurt that many guys, let alone knock out in one punch fashion. So I don't know. I want to see if I had to prioritize this list, I'd want the Crawford fight first, because it's within house. It's the most doable fight, so to speak, and it really is the passing of the torch.
Lim.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to credit to that is they've been saying that if they can't get Mayweather, they want Crawford next. So
I don't know. I read an interview today with Freddie saying he doesn't really want that fight. So
yeah, and I don't blame him from his vantage point. But I think the Spence and Brooke fight would be the two most dangerous at 47 for Pac.
Quickly to Naota's point earlier, he said about he doesn't see Brooke making 47 again, and I agree. And it's weird. Just after the Golovkin fight, he's like, "Nah, I probably won't get down to 47 again. I'll probably just start campaigning at 54." But now that Pacquiao got mentioned and Khan has seemed to show some interest in the Brooke fight, all of a sudden now he's thinking, I might be able to get back down to 47. But anytime
I think it's a mistake if he does.
Anytime you mention,
isn't that the norm, Cam?
No, but anytime you mention Spence to him, he's like, I don't know, 154.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Golovkin does too, right? It's the same shit.
Yeah.
For certain guys, they're willing to come down.
That's a big part of the reason why I put Spence in that discussion, because of the fact that nobody wants to fight the guy. They don't even want to talk about his name. They want to pretend that he doesn't exist. Even Bob Arum, Stephen Smith, asked Bob Arum about it. He said Spence is a good prospect. He's just a prospect. He hasn't proven anything. He's a prospect. And basically trying to sweep him under the rug, basically.
Everyone's a
that's
prospect.
True. And the thing is, it is kind of true. Again, it's not Spence's fault, but again, I mean, he's in a very, very rough predicament, almost on that Golovkin level, where he's almost too good for his own sake, that he cannot get that step up in competition that he actually needs for himself to be a more viable candidate. And I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, it's like he has the potential to be like a real big star, but he doesn't have that foil to make himself that.
Why? I don't understand like why people aren't clamoring for a PBC fight. He's on PBC. Someone like I don't really care if he fights Manny because realistically it's not going to happen.
No, but that's what we've been talking about for the past 2 years. Him versus Thurman, him versus Garcia, him versus Broner. None of them want anything to do with the guy. Him versus Brook, same thing there.
Thurman especially. Thurman himself said, he needs to prove himself. So even after he beat Algieri, I don't get it. I'm sorry, what were you going to say, Leon?
Heyman, this is on Heyman. Heyman should be making these fights. He's got all the power over there. The fans should demand it of him.
We've had this
he
conversation.
Can make them dance, man.
Leon, we've had this conversations many a time.
I know, but I think Spence gets Porter because Porter is the sacrificial lamb of PBC, isn't he? Like,
maybe
offered up to everyone.
That's
so
a good.
Spence, I think
a good
Spence
fight.
Porter
Actually.
happening.
That's a good fight. But Leon,
I bet Porter says he needs to prove himself. I guarantee.
No, he won't. I think that's the one thing. For as much as I criticise Porter, I think he's one of the few people who's actually run the gauntlet. Really, if you look at his resume, he's fought as many good guys as anyone in that division.
Yeah,
he really has.
That's a good point. It's not about
who has he fought. I'm not trying to criticize him right now, but who has he fought, Leon, outside of Brook and Thurman? I'm just trying to.
But I mean, you can't say.
Re-jog my memory.
You can't say outside of his two.
Yeah,
best
but
fights.
that's what I'm trying to say is that it's only one more, and he lost both of those fights. So I'm not putting that directly against him.
Broner.
He fought Broner. Like
he's willing to fight tough opponents.
Exactly.
I mean,
Broner,
Julio Diaz gave him hell and he rematched him. He didn't have to do that.
It's a good resume. It can't be world class because there isn't enough people to fight. But it's as good as a resume as anyone else fighting at that.
Yeah, you're right. I guess I'm just trying to play devil's advocate to some extent because I feel like you're in a different position when you lose those two big fights compared to you winning. And the only reason why I bring it up.
You're in a better position. You get more good fights if you lose.
Well, I mean, I think you're in a more desperate position.
Because you have less leverage.
Yeah.
Dan, I don't want you to play devil's advocate. I want you to be sincere. I want you to reveal your truth.
No. I'm agreeing with Leon. I think Leon's making the better point in that he does have a good resume, and I really can't shit against that because that's true. I guess the bigger point I'm trying to make is I used to think those same exact points about Thurman. I thought he would be the type of guy who wouldn't duck any fighter, regardless of their ranking or standing or positioning. And because of that, I'm having doubts about guys like Porter too. Whereas
I tell you now, I bet you Porter takes it before Thurman takes it.
Okay, but what if that's a year and a half, whereas Thurman would have taken it 2 years? I don't know.
I bet Spence fights Porter next year.
No, you know why, Leon? It's because Kenny Porter takes the fight.
Yeah, I bet it happens.
Yeah, well, if you're Kenny Porter, why would you want your son to be fighting this guy? I mean, he probably has so much brain damage right now from the two fights against, or maybe not against Brooks so much, but it just seems like he's getting a lot of brain damage just because of the style in which he fights. And I mean, Jesus Christ, can you imagine him against Spence? I think Spence really, really breaks him down in that fight in a really ugly fashion.
But that division has gone from being one of the hottest to actually, if you look at it now, it's not
one of the most lackluster.
Yeah, because look, Brook and Khan are a pair of fucking weirdos, and I don't know what they've done to their career. So let's suggest they're both out of that division. So you've only got Spence, Garcia, Furman on that side, who have kind of
Porter,
but winning records. Saying that and then there's Pacquiao and Bradley on the other side, and Porter. Is that it?
Vargas.
Yeah. I'm just saying, we looked back at it 2 years ago and we thought, there's something happening here, and now where's it gone?
I still think it's one of the best, though. Like, what are two weight divisions that are better than 47?
130 and 126.
175.
135 and 126.
I don't agree with
Cruz
130.
190.
But what?
Cruz
I don't know, dude. I feel like 75 is so top heavy, though. You know what I'm saying?
It is. It is.
It's so top heavy, whereas 47 is a little bit more balanced. So I guess what I'm trying to say is
but
it's
come
still
on,
one of the better divisions.
I think there's
yeah.
as many good guys at 175, untested, much like some of the people at 147. I don't think there's much difference. And
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's agree to that then. They're both pretty good divisions, so that's what I'm ultimately
And at least the
trying to
fighters in these divisions fight each other.
Yeah, that's my problem with 147.
Yeah. That's the big thing about 135 is they're fighting each
But
other.
how can you say that at 75 that they fight each other? True.
I'm not saying
Like,
that.
what evidence is there?
I'm saying that 147 they actively avoid each other. I'm not saying anything about 175.
I mean, regardless of whether they're actively or not actively avoiding each other, the fights still haven't been made at 75.
Yeah, but they're about to.
Outside of
One is about to.
one. Exactly. Whereas
One's the only one
Kovalev,
that I give a
Stevenson.
fuck about right now.
I mean, and I think it's a bigger thing to say about 75 when the top 1-2 haven't fought, whereas 47 there isn't a clear 1-2 there. So I don't know. I'm comparing apples to oranges here, but I'm just trying to say that one isn't that much better than the other, in my opinion, and how things have played out.
Well, what needs to happen at 147 is Errol Spence needs to fight anybody because everybody thinks that he's the top guy, him or Kell Brook. But both him and Kell Brook are not getting fights. You know, no one wants to touch them. So it's kind of been a limbo left after Floyd and Manny. And really at 175...
Well, Manny's still there, so they can fight him.
Well, I don't know what Floyd's doing. He's only...
Who cares?
He's only waiting for one fighter. And
Nothing for something in the chat put it really well. Undefeated fighters at 147 going to avoid each other to preserve the zero for Floyd and Pac fight. Floyd and Pac fight guys who already lost.
Yeah, but that's not even true because Danny already ducked Manny because not enough money was supposedly presented on the table.
Yeah, there's that too.
So that's not even true. Yeah,
such a fucking
I don't know.
good system, man. Such a good system. Even when you get contenders like Diaz beating Peterson. I don't know if that was at 140 or 147.
Peterson didn't want anything to do with Spence either.
Yeah, that was at 47.
But what's happened? He's another one. What's happened to him? He's disappeared. What they doing with his career?
Yeah, they I think they offered a couple of different guys a Felix Diaz fight and they both turned him down. So he's another guy that's getting...
Even when a so-called name fights a lesser name, a lot of the time the lesser name ends up losing. Just because of the fucking judges rob them. It's such a rigged game. Not all these guys get away with not fighting each other. It's really... I don't know what Danny Garcia's doing.
Well, we're hanging on. We're hanging on.
Well, Danny's going to fight Thurman. So.
Yeah, but we're only hoping because in 4 months anything can fucking happen. So, you know, we're wishing on a star at the moment because that whole shit could still fall apart. And, you know, they're both temperamental enough to fuck that, aren't they?
Yep. Leon, anything else regarding Pac Vargas? If not, just move down to Donaire, Magdaleno.
Yeah, Vargas looked good, but fighting not much competition, so he needs to step up fight as well. But I don't know what there is for him on that side.
You mean Valdez, right?
Valdez, sorry. Yeah,
no worries.
Yeah, and
how good do you think he is, Leon?
I like him going. I like his attack, but I wonder if he's open to being hit. But he looks real good at the moment, doesn't he?
Yeah. So let me ask you a little bit more specifically. If he fights Frampton or Santa Cruz, do you favor Valdez over both of those guys?
No.
How about Selby?
It's difficult to tell with Selby because there's a lot of potential there, but that's a 50-50 fight. But it's difficult because Valdez hasn't had anyone to prove himself, so he gives anyone in that division a good fight. Is the fairest thing I can say.
Leon, what would Leeds be like if Valdez came over to fight Warrington?
Like a ghost town because he'd get fucking iced. He would destroy that body.
And Donaire versus Magdaleno?
Donaire didn't look in great shape, did he? I mean, he's never been fully ripped, but I mean, he didn't. He looked he was a bit sluggish, wasn't he?
Yep.
Like he was a bit ploddy. And does that Magdaleno have a good chin? Because he took some big shots, or is his power slipping as well?
I think he has a good chin.
I think it's a good
Good
chin,
chin.
and he took a lot off of it, so he was moving away from the
Yeah, he's
shots.
going backwards.
I don't know.
But that guy, he got landed on, didn't he? So he's a decent fighter.
That straight right hand that Donaire landed in the 8th or 9th round, that was impressive. The fact that he took it as well as he did.
I think he's
Dan
definitely
answered back.
He's slipped, hasn't he, Donaire? Quite a bit now, it's safe to say.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that guy deserved to win, so that was good to see him get the victory, because I was listening to the commentary and the Twitter poll at the top rank were running.
Yeah, they had it like
wrong,
9-3 Donaire.
That was disgusting.
And who's that no mark on there? Who is the no mark?
Stephen Smith.
That I've never heard. Yeah, who is he? Why is he important? He's one of the very worst.
Yeah, he's one of those guys on First Take that was talking about Mayweather Pacquiao for the past 8 years and basically ignoring every other bit of boxing possible.
He means nothing.
He's a part of the problem as to why boxing isn't a major sport.
Naota, I don't know much about his background, and maybe a lot of people on these shows are similar to me. So just break down, what is his background? Has he got a sports background? Has he got a background in boxing?
No, he has a background. He has a radio show on ESPN radio, and he's been on First Take for the past 7-8 years, which is like one of the highest rated shows on ESPN. And I mean, true to ESPN, him and Skip Bayless, basically, whenever they would talk boxing, it would be Mayweather, Pacquiao, and literally nothing else. Literally nothing else at all, with regard to the sport. Yet they can go around talking about third and fourth string football players and basketball players and who Tim Tebow's fucking or whatever the hell, just a lot of bullshit with regard to other sports. But when it comes to boxing, it's only two guys that matter and nobody else exists. And, basically lending to the whole idea of, boxing's dead and just that narrative. So, I mean, for him to be on such a major stage, I get it with regards to why Aaron put him on there, because the guy gave as much promotion to Pacquiao as you could humanly possibly get. But he's also a big part of the problem with regards to coverage of the sport in the United States in particular.
Leon, do you think...
Yeah, he's actually... out of the two of them, Skip Bayless was the Manny Pacquiao fan and Stephen A. Smith was the Floyd fan.
Yeah, they basically took those sides every show. Smith would talk about how Mayweather was the greatest shit ever, and Skip Bayless would talk about how Pacquiao was making Floyd a bitch and running from him and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, he was rubbish, that's all.
Yeah, Leon, I totally agree with you. And do you just think Nonito should just hang him up now? He just doesn't seem to have that extra step, that extra hunger.
I think it didn't look good, did it? I mean, he tried his hardest in those last rounds, but he looked way off it. But that guy was tricky. Like Kimo was saying, he was good at getting his shots off when they were tied up. Was it round 6? That was a great round.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good fight, really good fight.
That's about it for the pay-per-view. There was 2 fights that I saw on the Top Rank stream that was also streamed on YouTube. Alexander Besputin, I speak to Nesmatic on Twitter, and he was saying, watch out for this guy. And I went back and watched him, and he was decent. It was his, I think it was his 5th fight. He's trained by Robert Garcia. He's Russian, super welterweight.
Do you think? I think he looks kind of like Frampton, doesn't he?
What, physically or style-wise?
His face.
Not really. No.
I don't know. He reminded me of him for some reason. But go ahead.
Yeah, dude, just first time I seen him, he looked decent. I liked the way he was digging the left hand to the body again. Another southpaw, and he has got that kind of Lomachenko step to the side, changing angles style. So decent to watch. And the other fight was the debut of Robson Conceição. He fought Ricky Burns' cousin, Clay Burns. No, I'm joking. But his name is Clay Burns.
Third degree.
And his nickname's Third Degree, so it's Clay Third Degree
Third
Burns.
Degree Burns.
And for his first fight, he's a 6-rounder. Obviously, he's a high-level Olympian, gold medalist. So it's good that they didn't just put him in a 4-rounder against someone who just came to fall over. So that was quite decent. And Conceição, I did watch him in the Olympics. Like, I know we reviewed his some of his fights in August, and decent. Just a few things I think he can improve on. He slaps with the backhand, and he's
definitely open to a left hook, like that one that Umiya hit him with in the Olympics.
Yeah, and he's obviously got long limbs, and the byproduct is obviously, you're gonna wind your punches up a bit, and they're not gonna be short and compact, but you can still have long limbs and throw compact pinches. So I just want him to tighten them up a bit. There's a big gap between when he starts to throw and when he finally lands, so he is open to counters. But good debut for him, and that's all I got to say.
You didn't see Teofimo Lopez? He was on that portion too.
I did think I did see it. Yeah, he got was the first round that both of them got dropped?
No. He knocked. Oh, you know what? Actually, yeah, you're right. My bad. I forgot that he touched down in the first. Yeah.
I like Teofimo a lot, but he has a shaky chin. I've seen him get dropped in sparring, and he's just too wild, man.
Yeah. I thought he looked pretty good, though. I mean, for his debut and everything. He's a young guy. He's 19. Just came out the Olympics.
Yeah.
He was trying to represent the U.S., but a lot of politics involved, and Valdez getting it over him. Matter of fact, Valdez just signed with Schaefer. But
is he fighting at 35? Teofimo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Conceição was fighting at 130, but it'd be interesting to see how the both of them progress in the near future. I think they'll probably take a little bit more time with Lopez than they will Conceição. I think Conceição they'll probably fast track a bit more because he'll bring a lot of eyes from Brazil, probably as much as Aslano Freitas did back in the day. And
so like 4 people.
5.
Nah, man, you forget how popular that dude was. Freitas was real. He sold out crowds out in Florida. A place that doesn't even typically draw boxing fans. He would sell out crowds down there. So Freitas brought a lot of eyes, and I think that Conceição will too. First ever gold medalist boxer from the place. And he fought Vasyl Lomachenko years back. Actually got a decision win over him that got overturned in the aftermath from a knockdown that Lomachenko scored over him. So I think Conceição is probably going to get moved fast, and it'll be interesting to see how he progresses.
Nice.
Yep. All right, let's move on. There was 2 other cards. Well, basically a card and one more fight that I want to quickly just go over. So Box Nation had a card in Ireland, pro debut of Paddy Barnes, and Jamie Conlon was also in an 8-rounder, which I found a bit strange. But as usual with these Box Nations, pretty poor card overall. I guess highlights, if you had to call him, Barnes did look good on his debut. He was countering the jab well with the right hand, and he was kind of playing with his opponent Stefan Slavchek, and then Slavchek decided to pick him up in the middle of, I think it was the 4th round, almost doing like a fireman's lift, and then just got chucked out and got disqualified. So bit of a stupid thing to do, but there you go. And the Conlon fight,
I like Paddy Barnes, man. I think he's fighting at too high a weight, though. I don't think flyweight is a good one for him.
And I'm a big fan of Jamie Conlon. Every fight he seems to have a war, but played it safe in this one. He fought David Coos, and it was quite, just an average fight. Nothing much went down. He just kind of boxed him, and there was no war, which for him is probably a good thing, because every fight he gets a cut or a bruise or multiple cuts. So he had a bit of bruising underneath his eye, but nothing more than that. And they're saying that he's going to have a final eliminator in his next, a world title final eliminator in his next fight. So interesting to see who that was going to be against. And there was just 2 guys. One, Chris Jenkins, a Welshman, fought Philip Sutcliffe. It was a decent fight. Both guys just standing in the pocket trading, but not much power on either. Both could take each other's power. And that's about it. Stephen Omer was on there after that defeat in Scotland. That's about it. And there was a card in Germany, rematch between Tyrone Zuger versus Giovanni Di Corrales. I watched this earlier. Watched the Sat1 German commentary version, and it was actually a decent fight. Up into the 6th round, it was average, but then both guys started trading a bit more. Both guys were just standing in the pocket throwing. Tyrone was kind of catching Giovanni a bit more, but after the 7th, 8th, like he's catching more clean, hurting him a few more times, and then in the 12th now, he caught him with a few good shots. De Corrales went down, got back up, and then he kind of jumped on him again, hurt him. Ref jumped in. It was the 12th, I think. He didn't look too bad, to be honest. I think he could have let it carry on, but ref stopped it. Zuga won 12th round KO. Decent scrap, you know. I enjoyed the second half of it. That's about it. Let's move on. Leon knows someone was asking in the chat. I didn't get your opinion on the Zou Shiming fight. Have you got an opinion on it?
Not really.
That's
He'd beaten that guy before, and he beat him pretty easily, didn't he? He was sitting down on a few more of his punches, but then he started doing all that showboating at the end, and just
doing the Roy Jones.
He doesn't excite me very much.
It was actually fun to watch, though. I enjoyed that fight.
Yeah.
I think it's a meta of his opposition. I think against the top level flyweights, I think he'll be a lot more exciting. Him versus Yoka, him versus his mandatory Nietes, I think would be good stuff to watch.
Yeah, I'm happy to watch those fights, but he hasn't been getting any of them recently, has he? So let's hope he does moving forward.
All right, let me name check the people in the chat. We got Tony Yayo, Mr. Fix, Supermaster, Overbruv, Larry Magoo, Pinhead 360, Jace Reed the A-side, Nothing for Something, Mr. Demo, Tico, Jack Captain, Joey D14, Steve Wellings, BRD Hay, Kevlar, Diehard Casual Fan, Johnny Clash, The Compa, PM Versus, and 7 guests. Right, folks, any news you guys want to talk about? I know we touched on a lot of topics on Friday in the Chemo Special, and there's not really been any big news announcements since then, so if not, we can move on and just preview next week. But anything you guys want to talk?
I wasn't on Friday, but I didn't get a chance to
yeah, you did.
have my say.
You were insulting us from the Mixler chat, so you had your say.
I didn't get a chance to thank Eddie Hearn for this fantastic pay-per-view card that he's serving up for us.
You're going to buy it, Leo?
No. But I just think no one ever thought that fight was happening. He just loves to run his mouth. You know, if you're hearing that name constantly in interview after interview after interview, the track record says he doesn't get him. He doesn't get he got Golovkin, but got that across the line somehow.
For a different fight.
Other than that, and Butte, who else has he got to his country?
That's fair.
It beggars belief. We say we have this kind of begrudging respect for him, as in he's this guy who gets stuff done. Does he really? Does he really get stuff? He gets his guys into little positions or sends them abroad to see if they might win a belt, and then the people who've won belts, half of them are fucked off, haven't they? Selby, De Gale thinks he's a bum. You know, they don't hang around. AJ's not going to be around forever. So what's he going to rely on? Fucking Scott Quigg to build as his main star? I mean, the guy's a fucking fraud.
Nicely put. We needed the extra salt. People were complaining that Friday's episode wasn't as salty enough.
Well, I mean, you can't be salty about it anymore because you're not. No one was shocked by being disappointed when we got that announcement, were we? We were already disappointed weeks and weeks and weeks before it got announced. As soon as he started mentioning Klitschko, you're like, "Oh, that's never happening."
At least he's matchmaking Scott Quigg tough, though.
Who's he fighting? Tom Bob again?
I think he's fighting TBA.
Yeah, I think he is. And then it's just like, and then you get told, "Oh, it's a really, really strong card because Buglioni's fighting Burton." Really? Is that what it's come to? I was going, "Oh no, it's not a bad card because that fight's happening."
What about
and that's not a
Chisora
bad
versus
fight. It's a
White?
good fight, but I don't want to hear that as your selling point. Oh, we've got Molina, but we're giving you this. Well, that's not good enough. That's like playing pass the parcel and just getting to open one layer and then the parcel moving off and you not getting to see it again. It's rubbish.
Go to sleep, boxing fan. Go to sleep. Here is Sweet Caroline.
Yeah.
Go to sleep.
Here's half a gram and a couple of pints, and your bird can put something nice on, and we go and get a haircut. And he fucking loves us. He's a cunt, man. They're glorified nightclubs. Those nights out at Matchroom Cards, they're glorified nightclubs. Some brasses, a bit of gear, a few pints. Oh, and there's a fight on. These never picked up fans of boxing. They're fans of fucking Eddie Hearn's fucking Utopia. I mean, he's the fucking worst, man.
We're meant to pick up.
It's like a narrative. It's like a narrative in Westworld.
He's like all those things that he insults us with, where he goes, "Oh, you should get a haircut, get down the gym, nick a bird." It's like, yeah, we want you to do all those things so you don't watch the boxing.
That would take up all your time, man. That'd be fucking tough as fuck.
Oh, it's hard work, man. But so he's just an arse, man.
All right,
I hope AJ gets fucking iced. Come to that now, where you're wishing ill on almost all of his fighters, because it's just tell us the truth. Just say, "Oh, we couldn't get it, so we had to get this next guy." Because we've seen that clip. You played it a lot on the Chemo special. He gets caught up in his own lies and and just makes a joke about it rather than being embarrassed.
Yep, I agree. Can't get away from that. I disagree about the card. Like, don't get me wrong, it's pay-per-view and it shouldn't be and stuff, but I don't actually think it's too bad of a card, to be honest.
But it's not too bad of a card, but I could have all those undercard fights could be on. There's no need to be paying for that shit. We're paying for it because for some reason AJ demands this money because morons want to go and watch him beat up fucking nobodies. Yeah. We've forced this on ourselves by hyping. Sky hype has got to people, and they built him up and built him up and built him up, and now they're having to pay for it because of what they've done.
Yep. All right, Leon. Let's stay with Hearn and Matchroom. Preview this week: Monaco, Monte Carlo. We got Luis Ortiz versus Malik Scott, Martin Murray, originally against Abraham, but now fighting Dmitry Chudinov. Jason Sosa versus Stephen Smith, and Jamie McDonald versus Libero Solis. So, give us your take on Luis Ortiz versus Malik Scott, Leon.
Well, can you ever believe in Malik Scott again? Was Wilder his last fight? It feels like that was his last fight.
No, that was a long time ago. I think Tony Thompson.
So that's what I
mean.
It feels like it was because he's been doing nothing, has he? So he's been brought over here to get a beating, isn't he?
Do you think he's gonna wear like a brown paper bag over his head at the weigh-in like he did against Wilder?
Like a fucking second-rate Dennis Rodman. I've got no interest in him. Ortiz will drugged up to the eyeballs and smash him to bits, won't he?
Chew.
Ain't no drug testing going on in Monaco, mate.
Nah, that's true. Chew, what's your thoughts on Luis Ortiz versus Malik Scott?
Yeah, I don't know what to think about that fight. It's just
Were you going to say good fight at the start of that, then just took it out?
I mean, it is on paper, but it's but the credibility of Malik Scott, like Leon says, is questionable. You really don't know what side he's playing on. You could take a fall or anything, so I expect King Kong to win. I expect it to be in 1 or 2 rounds.
Daniel, what do you think? Do you give a shit?
I don't give a shit at all. Fuck Malik Scott. The biggest dive in recent memory. That dive against Wilder was pitiful. I can't, like Leon said, I can't trust anything about this guy. Therefore, I can't be excited about any of his fights.
Chew still swears he saw a wink before that punch.
Man, he got hit by a punch. That's what it was to it. He got knocked out.
Neota, what's your thoughts?
A phantom punch.
Deontay Wilder's a destroyer. And so is Luis Ortiz. So he's going to go in there and he's going to wreck shop, man. Actually, I think Malik Scott may give him some trouble first couple of rounds. Ortiz, I don't know. They always seem something with regards to the way he sets things up seems to be missing a little bit. And I think he takes a little bit too long, in spite of the fact that he doesn't necessarily have the greatest timing. If anything, I think it'd be better if he was a little bit more free with his hands. But I expect a knockout, and probably by about the fourth or the fifth round.
I actually agree with you. I was thinking about this today, and it depends for me on the size of the ring. And I was looking at the venue. It's the same place where Martin Murray fought Golovkin. So if I remember correctly, that was a decent sized ring because like Murray was running around it all night. If it is a big ring, then I think Scott might, frustrate Ortiz for a few rounds, maybe 4th, 5th, just by stick and move, using the jab, trying to keep him away with the backhand. Only problem with Scott is if he does get his back against the ropes, he doesn't think about lateral movement. He just wants to lean back and avoid shots that way, and it's not the most ideal strategy against Ortiz because you can be, leaning back and coming back onto a big hook or a backhand from Ortiz. So I see Ortiz getting to him early if it's a small ring, and maybe 4th, 5th, 6th if it's a bigger ring.
Doesn't matter what ring it is, he'll still take a dive. He's a false flag of a fighter.
All right. Murray versus Chudinov. I think Murray's gonna have issues, man. Like Chudinov is one tough bastard, man. Like that fight against Eubank, that was one of my favorite fights of the last couple of years, man. Like, even though it was one-sided, he was game. He kept coming forward. He's tough as hell, man. He got a chin, really good chin as well. Murray just. He's never really been that good in the first place, and he's been on a decline the last couple of years. He didn't look that good against Groves. He looked pretty shit against Abraham. And then all the fights in between them, they were just kind of like stay busy fights or tune-up fights after the Golovkin fight. So last couple of years, Murray's not really doing anything. So I think I've got Chudinov for that fight. Anyone else got thoughts?
Yeah, I think that he struggled with Abraham, and this guy's from the same school, isn't he, of boxing, high guard, come forward, 1-2s. And I think, like you said, he's tough, he's young. I think he gives Murray all kinds of problems because Murray didn't really deal with Abraham's, did he? I'm not saying they're as good, but I'm just saying, that style is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So I think he gets. Murray ain't stopping him, is he?
No.
Because Eubank did the walk away and everything on him, and was punching with ridiculous shots. So yeah, I think he beats Murray. I think he maybe even might stop him. I think he's on his way out, isn't he?
My bad. Actually, didn't Chudinov get stopped in the last round? Even though. I think it was that weird.
Oh yeah, stopped the fight. He stopped on his feet, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He wasn't lying on his back.
Yeah, exactly.
He never got put. I don't think he got put down in that fight.
No.
So I think he's struggling, big time.
Anyone else?
I slightly favor Chudinov, kind of for what both of you guys were talking about, but I don't necessarily think he's that much of, that much better than, or really much better at all than either Abraham or Murray. I'd say he's probably about equal level to both of them, really. And even though I think really, if anything's going to be on his side, it's going to be youth and, freshness. So I favor him slightly based on that. But otherwise, I think it's, it'll be a fairly close fight.
Chew, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think Chudinov wins. I think Murray in his prime would have won, but he's not in his prime anymore, and I think Chudinov's going to take a decision.
Nice. Alright, let's move on down undercard. This fight, I think, might be the fight of the night. Jason Sosa versus Stephen Smith. I was thinking about this today. Sosa really impressed me against Fortuna. He did a decent job against Walters, but that wasn't a draw. Walters won that. He got a favourable decision in that one. But Sosa's a come-forward guy, and so is Stephen Smith. Like, apart from MB2's cousin, Scotty Cardo, all Gallagher fighters, are kind of come forward fighters. None of them really fight on the back foot, and Stephen Smith is no exception. He's a guy that comes forward. So unless one of these guys is going to change their style, these guys should kind of go head at it. Like, just I don't know. I don't want to jinx it and then it end up being a shit fight, but I can see it being a bit of a war, man. But I'm going to favour Sosa, man, because I think Smith might start to crumble under the pressure and under just the combinations, because Jason Sosa does forward combinations. He'll throw a shot to the head, shot to the body, shot to the head. He'll keep mixing it up. And I've got a feeling it's going to be a good fight, fingers crossed.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it'll be a good fight for as long as it lasts, but I think Sosa's going to knock him out. I think he hits way too hard for somebody to be just trying to go heads up, walk right at him like that. I mean, it's entirely possible that he may not be able to have quite the same power on the back foot if Smith is able to push him back. But I mean, considering the fact that he kind of caught Fortuna a couple times while he was on the back foot when Fortuna was pressuring him, and when Fortuna was up in that fight, he managed to basically one shot and get rid of him, or begin the process of getting rid of him. I think just is a testament to his power. And so I can't favor anybody that's just gonna kind of walk at you with somebody that hits that hard.
Leon, Chu?
Yeah, I think the power is the thing, because if there's one thing that Joe Gallagher fighters do, that's get punched in the face on a regular basis, and I think he will, like you said, I see him crumbling, because he kind of crumbled in that last world title fight a bit. I just don't think he's. I think he's skilled, and I think he's a European level guy, but I just don't think he's world level. And fighting for a world title belt does not make you world class. I mean, I just think for him, unfortunately, he's just a level below, and there's no shame in that. But if you're from the home of champions, it must be hard not to have one of those dodgy world belts.
True.
So this is another dodgy one, isn't it? This isn't a full one. It's a regular.
It is a regular, but
is it real? Yeah.
Sosa definitely earned the belt, man. Like
yeah.
Like,
but is there another champion?
Corrales, who knocked out Uchiyama.
Yeah. So Kinder Egg, mate.
Chu, your thoughts?
Chu is gone.
Yeah, I'm here. Cam, explain to me who's fighting.
Jason Sosa versus Stephen Smith.
Right. Okay. I know who Stephen Smith is. Who's Jason Sosa?
Jason Sosa had that fight, I think last year, the year before, with Nicholas Walters. Everyone thought Walters won, but it was given a draw. And then he went to China this year and fought Javier Fortuna. He got dropped, I think, in the mid-rounds, but came back, his pressure, and ended up stopping Fortuna. Really good fight, too, if you want to watch it. It's got Box Nation commentary. I remember Barry Jones was commentating on it. It's on definitely on YouTube.
That was a good fight.
Yeah, it was a good fight.
It seems like an arranged marriage from Game of Thrones. It's fucking random. Just a random fight. And was it for the belt?
Yeah, WBA regular.
Right, I'm going to go with Smith based on nothing.
At least you're keeping it real.
I mean, I know who Stephen, I've watched him, he's kind of boring, to be honest. He's one of the boring Smith brothers, but Jason Sosa I don't know nothing about, so I'll go with the guy I know.
No problem. Last fight, I said Dan's come back. Dan?
Yes.
Daniel. We're just going through the Monaco card. I talked about Luis Ortiz versus Malik Scott. Anything you want to say about that?
No, man. I'm good. I'm a casual fan. Sorry.
All right. Neo, to just last fight on that card, that's decent. Libero Solis fought Yamanaki in that fight of the year contender in March, I think. Impressed me. He's fighting Jamie McDonnell, who I'm who I rate very highly. Your thoughts on that fight?
Yeah, no, I rate McDonough really highly too. McDonough, I think, is probably probably the number 2 bantamweight right behind Yamanaka. And the nice thing here is he's fighting a guy that fought Yamanaka before, in Liborio Solis. And Solis managed to drop Yamanaka in the 3rd round, drop him twice actually, caught him with just a couple of good right hands. But overall, Yamanaka dominated pretty much the rest of that fight. Although, I mean, he gave a lot of resistance throughout that fight. So even though he lost just about every other round, every round was a tough, competitive round. So I think that he'll give good, tough rounds to McDonald, but I think that McDonald is just that level above, the same way that Yamanaka was. And hopefully, if McDonald wins, which I think he will, he can get a fight with Yamanaka, because that'd be number 1 versus number 2 in my opinion at the weight class.
McDonald's style is just AIDS to watch.
No.
Oh, come on, man. You can remember the Carl Frampton Scott Quick undercut.
That was Gavin.
Same thing, man. They fight the same, man. No.
McDonald fought Kameda. True.
Twice.
He's a good fight. He throws a ton of punches.
He does lack power, but he makes up with it with volume.
No, he's in good fights. This guy is made for him as well, so I think it will be a fun fight, because he's going to stand there, isn't he?
Yeah, he's an attacker.
Yeah, this will be a good fight.
Nah, I'm not into those brothers.
He's possibly our best guy.
I think he is. I think he's the best fighter in the UK.
I think he's very close to being.
I don't want to sound like a hater, because I know he's talented, but it's just not an exciting style for me.
What,
to watch that?
Busy body puncher. I think he's fun to watch.
Yeah, man, good jab, good setup, good timing.
I think
good volume, everything.
He needs a good guy against him, and I think this guy will bring it out of him. We've seen some bad fights where he's been fighting, I think against the lower opposition it's too easy for him and it doesn't look that exciting then, but you put him in good fights like the Kameda fight, I mean, they were fun as fuck.
Only in boxing where you would get away with that saying, like, someone else will bring it out of him. I mean, if you went to your marketing job tomorrow and someone brought out productivity from you, you'd be fucking sacked and that other guy would get promoted. But in boxing,
that's the same in any sport. If you're playing below you, it looks easy.
Yeah.
I don't want to see a team get smashed 8-0 in football. That's not exciting, is it?
Right. Yeah. I think you're being a little bit harsh, too. Yeah, I think your level of opposition definitely has a huge bearing on how fun a certain fight is.
But whatever happened to personal responsibility of taking a fucking fight into the grip of your palm?
But he does.
Yeah, just the fact it doesn't.
I mean, McDonald knocks out guys that are on his level. It's not like he's going to decision with these guys.
Yeah, just because it doesn't exclude him for doing that. All we're saying is that the level of opposition can bolster that or improve it that much more. That's all.
I apologise. I'm being irrational. Because of that fight I saw him.
Yeah, it's kind of like how irrational I was with Selby when he first started, just because of that one fight that I always had in the back of my head, and I let let me jade my perception of him, of how good he was as a fighter. So
honestly,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
A fight like that will poison the well for him and his whole family for me.
I love how Chew's hating on Jamie just because he saw Gavin fight.
Exactly. It's the wrong guy.
It's like seeing Canelo's brother and be like, yeah.
I never liked Jose Cotto.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome.
Yep.
Okay, that's about it for that card.
Right,
we discussed.
Fuck him. Fuck his brother. Fuck.
Oh, wow.
That's not nice, Chew. All right,
watch this for that. He's going to be the most fun fight too. I was going to say best performance of the weekend.
I was going to say the same could apply to the Smith brothers, but that's actually a valid opinion to have of all of them because they're all fun boys. So I actually take that back. So, yeah, Cam. Anything else, man?
Yeah, we touched on this guy on Friday, Danny Vargas. Sorry, Danny Garcia versus Samuel Vargas, 10-rounder, belts on the line.
That's this week?
Yep, going up against Conor.
Holy
Going up against the
fuck.
King, yeah?
No, I was gonna Billy Briscoe?
Yep.
That's the fucking king right there, Billy Briscoe. That's the only reason why I'm gonna tune into this fight. I just want to see his bum ass attire in the corner.
Your son's gonna
Hopefully,
die.
yeah, I want to hear him say that. Your son's gonna die. I gotta throw in the towel. Yeah.
You
But,
can't see.
wow. This fight is so bad that it's just one of those things where you just like it's so bad that I have to watch it. I'm really curious to see how bad Danny's gonna demolish this guy.
You giving this fight a pass, though, because you were getting Thurman at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, I kind of am. Like, I know this isn't really logical, but I'd rather have this kind of setup where Danny's fighting, a complete nobody and then fighting Thurman than him fighting two Robert Guerreros. And I know one doesn't justify the other, but that's just how kind of, I guess, detached I am from logical reality nowadays. So I'm okay with it. As sad as that sounds.
How bloodthirsty must Gabe Rosado's family be? They should be the one telling the trainer, stop the fight. The trainer's having to tell them, I got to stop it, man. Bloodthirsty.
Like, nah, fuck that.
They're a bunch
We
of
don't quit.
vampires. Sure.
Yeah, or Canelo fans.
It's like John Kreese and Karate Kid, man. No mercy.
Yeah. But Cam, is there anybody else notable fighting on this card?
There's two other decent fighters. Javier Fortuna's fighting Omar Douglas. I don't really know much about Omar Douglas. Maybe Neil can enlighten me. But Jared Hurt, prospect at 154. Seen him fight a couple of times. Beautiful. He's got a beautiful right uppercut. He's fighting Jojo Dan. Jojo Dan steps up to...
Donut's back.
Yeah, Donut's back. He's fighting at 154 now.
He's fighting at
Donut
54?
Yeah.
He's going to get smashed.
Wow. What a terrible fight
Jared's
for
gonna smash him.
Hurt. I mean, come on, man.
That's
Are you
a knockout.
serious? That's a joke of a fight, dude. That to me is worse than Danny Vargas. I mean, not because
The
it's a
Fortuna
worse
Douglas
fight.
fight is good.
Just because Hurt had the best fight of his career in his last fight, and now he's fighting fucking Jojo Dan. Are you kidding me? What the fuck is that?
Neilton, any info on Omar Douglas, Fortuna's opponent?
Yeah, he's an undefeated prospect. 17-0, 12 knockouts. Pretty good boxer puncher. So I mean, it's kind of a funky match to make. Because I think Fortuna's probably going to take a 0. I don't think he's ready for somebody that's just the physical force that Fortuna is. Like, Fortuna to me is a fighter that you really don't want to be fighting against unless you have to, because his style is so wild and he's a power puncher. I mean, he could knock you out with any random shot that he throws, and he's an agile guy, good, just difficult to predict. And I mean, he was beating Jason Sosa before Sosa managed to knock him out. He was winning that fight.
Yep.
Sosa basically needed a knockout to get it.
Yeah, he did.
So I really don't like Douglas's chances. To me, this is a good example of a prospect, I think, being stepped up to a certain level too soon. But it's not even necessarily just a certain level, but against a particular style that's kind of a bad style matchup for just about anybody, because Fortuna is like a street fighter, man. He doesn't play by the rules. He does random shit in there, and he's hard to predict. So
Yeah, just looking
I
at
think Fortuna wins it. But I think it'll be a good fight though, because Douglas definitely ain't coming in there to lose.
and I'm just looking at Douglas's resume now on BoxRec, and I don't know. Seems like a big step up for him, man. Big step up to fight Fortuna. But Leon,
I mean, he's fought a couple fellow prospects, but it's a big difference from a prospect to a former champ. So
yeah, Leon, I forgot to have a look at the Sky EPG today. Is this going to be on Spike TV like in 2 weeks or some shit like that, or is this getting shown live at any channel?
What, this? I think it's a Spike job. I think it's a Saturday night one.
So I'm gonna have to catch on.
I think it's this Saturday though, Cam.
Yeah, the fight's this Saturday, but when will Spike show it though?
Oh, is it this Saturday? No, is it not this Friday?
Is it Friday or Saturday? I'm sure it's on Saturday.
Oh, is it? Oh, then it'll probably be next Saturday then. Appalling.
Cam, they're doing you a favor, man. Honestly, you don't want to watch this shit.
I want to watch Jared Hurt though. I like him.
But he's fighting Jojo Dan, man. Come on.
I think
That's a terrible fight.
I think we're getting done a favor.
Lim, do you think I need to like use my time better?
Yeah, no. I'm not saying that at all because I find it very commendable that you watch all of these fights. It's like I'm clapping right now for you, Cam. That's fantastic. But I mean, this card is utter dog shit. Like you should not be watching this.
Cam,
Yes.
they've got Bellator cage fighting on Spike instead
Oh, they're not even showing it.
my God.
on Saturday evening. Yeah,
That's terrible.
If ever there's a concoction for Leon to potentially do some serious damage to himself, it's just watch Bellator on Friday and then watch the UFC card on Saturday. I bet by on Sunday he has gashes all over his arm.
I'm not watching any of those things.
Terrible thing. Yeah.
Too dangerous
But,
for my health.
He'll just Cobain himself.
I'm with you, Cam. I'm high on Jared Hearn, man. I like Jared Hearn a lot, but I don't understand this matchmaking. Like that last fight that he had was against Valdez, right? Oscar's cousin or his brother or something like that.
Jared Hurt's for last
Wait, who are you talking about?
Jared Hearn.
No, Oscar Molina.
Oscar Molina, yeah.
Yeah, Molina. I'm sorry. Yeah, he had a good performance, and I don't get it, man. How old is Jojo Dan, by the way?
Immortal.
Oh, he's not that old, is he? Is he like 33?
He is born in 81, so yeah, 33, 34.
Yeah, that's 30. 81. That's 35.
35, yeah. 35.
So is he refresh my memory? Was he considered to be a big welterweight?
No.
I can't really remember. I think he was just an
Kill
average
Blue,
size
Waffle.
welterweight, to be honest.
He was a career 140.
No, he's about an average size welterweight.
Because Jared Hearn is a very big junior middleweight.
Yeah, he is.
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I guess their logic, PBC's logic for this card was that, well, our main event is already so shitty as it is. We can't even present a decent fight because we're just going to up the value of the card too much. So our fans are just going to be mortified, if one of these fights is actually decent level. Well, excuse me, the Fortuna fight is decent level, but you can't have two of those, because you're just setting up the main event for failure at that point. But,
Lim, does
and
this
then I don't get it. One more thing, Cam, I'm sorry, but the thing I don't understand too is, okay, so for all of the fights that you decide to bring Danny Garcia to his hometown to try to capitalize on that market is his worst fight, that's a smack in the fucking face for all of Danny's fans and all of the fight fans in Philadelphia. That's just terrible, man. Like, you should have capitalized on it.
He's bringing Philly boxing back, though.
Yeah, but it could have been brought in a bigger fashion earlier, man. I know we shit on PBC all the time, but one thing that really does puzzle me is why they don't decide to try to capitalize on these fighters' local markets. Like, try to make boxing regional again, man. Like, that's what makes the sport so much fun is, like Thurman, the pride of Florida.
Every fight.
Yeah, Deontay, the pride of Alabama. Danny, the pride of Philadelphia. And Porter, the pride of Ohio. It's like, you got to make this shit fun, man. You got to create rivalries in this sport. And it's just a slap. I feel bad for all of the fans in Philadelphia who, out of all of the fights to watch Danny Garcia, you have to watch him fight against a complete joke of a fighter. It's just bullshit.
Is it fair in saying that you're not going to be watching the Robert Stiglitz fight on Sunday on YouTube, Daniel?
No, I'm definitely going to watch that fight. I have to. Stiglitz is my boy. Yeah. So, no, that's all, Cam. That's all the ranting that I have for today. So, carry on, brother.
Leon, are you glad that Box Nation picked up that fight?
Oh, I'm over the moon. Robert Stiglitz again.
I'm surprised. They must have got that fight.
The living dead.
They must have got that fight for free, Leon, for them to have picked it up, man. Like, who cares about this fight? It's crazy.
And he's fighting a guy that lost to Najee Mohammadi. And, yeah, so it's not going to be good, is it? No. Although saying that, it'll probably be the best fight.
Is he moving up?
Cam, there's a mobile number for the tickets on BoxRec. That's a foreign mobile number.
Is that really a mobile number?
Tickets. Yeah.
So Stieglitz is just selling him himself, just like, phone me up, I'll get you some tickets.
Oh, yeah, so.
Yeah,
they got Howard Foster as one of the judges. So someone's getting robbed.
Well, Victor Loughlin's the ref?
Yeah, that's I don't mind him reffing.
That's why.
Keep it fair, but you need the dodgy ones on the side, don't you?
That's why Box Nation. That's why Box Nation picked it up, because Loughlin and Foster are on the broadcast.
I bet Foster doesn't care enough about this fight to even try to pull off a robbery. He's like, whatever. This fight doesn't mean anything.
He's fielding the cards already.
It's quite mad.
His opponent Mehdi Ammar is taking a pretty big step up in the first place. So I doubt they're really that concerned.
Chew, what were you going to say?
I don't think so.
No, it's quite mad how a referee can have such a big impact on the way a fight turns out. Like, Victor Loughlin would let you fight Steve Smogel style to the fucking end of it, till the fucking world's end, and then fucking Howard Foster will get you out of there quicker than, if you're in rush hour traffic trying to get home.
It's true.
It's fucking the different extremes of British boxing are there for everyone to see.
That's true. All right, fellas, that's all from me, unless you guys got anything you want to talk about.
No.
Well, I just wanted to say, rest in peace to Chocolatito's trainer. He just got declared, guess maybe not rest in peace yet, because he's not physically dead. He got declared brain dead today, though, because he had a stroke last week.
A
guy named Arnolfo Obando. He's 54 years old. So it looks like Gonzalez is going to be needing a new trainer very soon.
54? That's young, man.
Yep.
Wow, man. Rest in peace, sir. Anyone else?
That's terrible, man.
Yeah. So tell me, Americans, is the world gonna be in flames by the end of play tomorrow?
No.
I don't know. Depends.
Absolutely not.
You seem you've been very confident for a while, Dan.
I have. I mean, let's say this for the Chew Nauta special, but yeah, I don't know. Hillary's a minus 650 favorite right now to win the election. I know it's a little bit absurd to judge the climate of an election based on odds, but I just find it very difficult for Donald to get enough of the electoral votes. I mean, he's falling behind in pretty much historically red states in the past. He's falling behind it by quite a fair margin. So
the thing about Hillary,
taking place.
Dan, Hillary can't fight on the back foot, man. She's a.
She won't need to. She'll be on the front foot the entire time.
Can I just say one thing?
That's the thing. The ref clearly is in her pocket. He's warning Donald Trump for every little thing, every little infraction. He's making sure that anytime Hillary touches gloves with the canvas, that was called a slip. So, I mean, it's tough to figure out exactly.
What's up, Leon?
I just want to say one thing, and it's just I need somewhere to air this other than just shouting at my wife, so it's going to have to be here. I hear it over here, and I've been hearing it in this election in America. Do you not just hate that statement where you hear someone go, I want them to be more like me. I want them to be a person like me who doesn't lie and doesn't, all this thing. I want no one like me near any kind of government, running any kind of thing. It just seems like an absurd statement that you'd want someone like yourself, and you're speaking of a moron. It's like you're interviewing a moron, and a moron saying, I want them to be someone more like me. It's fucking terrifying.
Like, this election has been the most frustrating, just current event topic that I can remember in history. It's really fucked up a lot of my relationship that I have with very close friends of mine. And it's just such a debacle. And like, never have I encountered, I think, some kind of experience or some kind of event where there's so many different talking points and there's so many like just stupid, futile things that come in a discussion that at some point you don't even know what the whole original conversation was about. And it's just so frustrating trying to talk to people about different things that you're probably not educated enough about and they're not educated enough about, and you just go on this tangent of arguing for the sake of arguing, and then you look back at your conversation and you have absolutely no idea what the intentional purpose of that first interaction was.
That's
and
like when
I just can't wait until Tuesday night. I really can't.
That's like when Chew plays devil advocate sometimes.
Just to add, I'm like Hillary Clinton to me is the political version is the political equivalent to Chris fucking Algieri. Barack Obama Manny Pacquiao the shit out of her back in 2008. And so then she had to steal it against Bernie Sanders in order to get her place in the election. And Donald Trump is a fucking scumbag. So we got two scumbags going up against each other. Fuck both of them.
No, to me, Hillary Clinton is more like Kelly Pavlik. You know, she's a plotting fighter. You know, she's always like that. So, anyways, fuck this, man. I'm sure the listeners don't give a fuck about our political opinions. And,
nothing for something does.
I don't know. I hate talking about that shit.
You know where he's voting. I'm putting money down.
Can we quote
now.
this? And I agree with him. Nothing for something. There's not a list of people connected to Trump who have died under mysterious circumstances. Seth Rich. Google that name. Seth Rich. People shooting themselves 2 times in the back of the head. I'm not a fan of either.
Isn't that how everybody commits suicide?
The bias is on people on both sides. Cognitive dissonance. You've got emails. You've got fucking video of corruption with Hillary Clinton, and people really think that criticism of Clinton is support of Trump. Strange, but I mean, I'm Scottish. Best thought to anyone who votes.
Yeah, you've had your opportunity and you fucked it. Now sit down.
Cam, let's shut this shit down, man.
No, let's keep this going for a bit. This is fun.
No, that's
I just think it's just crazy. I'll be staying up to watch it. Emails, jabs, China, Russia. Fuck all of this shit, man. Tired.
All right.
Russians are coming.
I'm not going to go around and get final thoughts because I know you guys haven't got any, so I'll thank you all. I'll thank you all for being on the show today. Thank all the people in the chat, and thank all the people that download the show week in, week out. We'll be back next week. Peace.
Peace.
You just listened to the Boxing Coalition.
I did. Man, I love boxing. I fucking love boxing.
A big shout out to the Boxing Coalition.
You're a newbie.
No, I ain't new, man.
If my fucking next door neighbour became the #1 flyweight in the world, you know what I'd do? I'd fucking walk past the cunt.
Derek, how you doing, bro?
I was physically burn you, blood.
I disagree.
First time I hear the show, man, it was fucking badass.
Vamos a Argentina, la concha de su madre.
I see the bomb in them.
I get home and she's like, what the fuck? Me and the kid are here. Why don't you get home and talk to us? I'm like, man, you guys don't know shit about boxing.
Kel, how does it feel to be the new IBF champion?
Feels great. Did we really dive into the black hole right off the jump?
I think he's hiding glass. Just to play devil's advocate. You want 1 portion of crow or 2 portions of crow?
Give me 2 portions with a supersized fries and a large drink, please.
I can't stand him, what? I'm Scottish.
Cringe side? But you won't crush Anthony fucking fat ass Joshua, would you? He's not fat.
How about you tell us what you weigh for your final thoughts?
My weight?
Thank you for listening to the Boxing Coalition. We are live every Monday, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. UK time, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern.